10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Men of Promises podcast, A Man's Conversation. I want to welcome my host, Kim Jackson, the Bishop in the booth, and my other host,
Ariel Prater. Glad
doing?
to be here tonight.
Thank you, my brother. How you doing?
Yeah, man. Everything's good. It's been another good week.
Good.
Hopefully the rest of the week goes like the beginning of the week.
Well,
so
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. God is good, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right. So the last couple of weeks, we've had a good conversation. We've had a very good conversation talking about what do we talk about? I just got a blank. Just pulled a blank right quick.
Well, yeah, we hit a few issues, but the main one was our purpose.
Our purpose.
Yep. And
an assignment.
An assignment. Yep.
Right. Honestly, trying to figure out what I wanted to do for our topic this week, I really wanted to stay on purpose and assignment.
Yeah.
But I don't want to beat the dead horse.
Right.
What I want to do this week is I want to talk about the maturity of a man, the maturity of a young man, and the evolutionary growth of a child to a teenager to a man, and what that costs. What does it look like?
Right.
So the Bible scripture is 1 Corinthians 13:11, and that scripture says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child.
Right.
I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
Right.
So with that scripture in context, that's a wide or broad range of topics. And I want to hit on all of them. But my question to you is tell me about your progression as a young man, as a teenager, college student, to where you are right now.
Yep.
And let's let that be.
Yeah. Let me just go through it. Let's see here. Childhood was great. I think one of the main things about my childhood was I feel like I was really getting prepared for bigger things. My parents put me in a lot of stuff growing up. So I had two brothers, so we always got the fighting down pat at home,
right?
Wrestling and all that stuff, and then playing sports and doing all that growing up. Sports teams, doing all that. Music was a big part of my life growing up. So I started taking piano lessons when I was 5. So I started 5 years old playing piano, and then playing in churches, like just growing up doing that. So all that to say is I feel like I had responsibilities even as a child.
Right.
That wasn't life or death, right? It's still not crazy.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it forces you to, go to bed at night because you got to get up in the morning, go work out, go do whatever you need to do there. It forces you to make sure you get your homework done, you know what I mean? So that you can go do other things and then, finish out the day. I think the structure that I was given really helped me as I was growing up. So then you understand the structure, and then you keep that on throughout the rest of your life. What I will say is I saw some people that were a little unstructured, right? And it's not to say that they can't get it, because anybody can change and do what you need to do, especially as you grow up. But I feel like it was a little bit harder for them if you didn't really have anything from day to day. You didn't have projects to work on. I'm thinking about that, man. How many projects did we have to go do with my dad, working on other people's houses, working on our own stuff, all that. Every Saturday was filled with some kind of project. Cutting grass every day. You had your chores to do. And then, some of my friends didn't have that. They didn't have cousins. They didn't have that structure. And I think the structure piece and not having it, something they had to learn, at least learn as they were growing up. And later on. Exactly. Right. You got to get the structure part.
And it could have been more of a challenge learning it later on than earlier on.
I think so. And do they have it yet? I don't know.
Right.
Some of them may never get it. I don't know. But I think it helps. I think it does. And like I said, to any teenagers, any men out there, it's not that you can't get it.
Right.
But it's going to be a struggle if you don't have that structure or that feeling of structure growing up and getting that. So, you know, I'm kind of thankful I was raised like that. In the time and in being in it as a kid,
right,
it wasn't always peaches and cream.
Right. So what has that produced in you for today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm structured today, right?
Right.
Today as a man, I feel like I know exactly what, you know, I put my goals out there. I have a goal in mind, and I put, you know, put things together to try to get to that goal.
Right.
And that comes with the structure. So it's saying, hey, today I need to do this, this, and this to get to this place right here.
Right.
You got to put that plan together.
So your dad, being the man that he is, really prepared you.
Yeah.
And in that preparation, you really don't know what is preparing you for.
Nah.
But when the opportunity comes, you are available. You're ready. Mm-hmm. You're prepared.
Yep.
So my lifestyle is a little different. I kind of grew up in a chaotic lifestyle.
Okay.
I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm
sheep.
I'm Cinderfella.
Okay.
I just feel like I was treated differently. But in that treatment and being treated different, I didn't understand that will prepare me for the life that I have today. Mm-hmm. I was young, 12 years old. I had a baby sister. Mm-hmm. And my dad and my stepmother separated, but my dad had custody.
Okay.
So I had to learn how to braid hair.
There you go.
At a very young age. Mm-hmm. I had to learn how to take care of my sister. Mm-hmm. If he forgot something in her diaper bag, I was the one walking the 3 miles to make sure she got her milk.
That's a teacher.
Yeah. I was cooking for my sister.
Yeah.
Now I'm 12 years old. Mm-hmm. Who's prepared to raise a child or be part of raising a child at 12, 13, 14 years old? But I look now that those were early days where I was being prepared for the family that I have right now.
Right.
You understand what I'm
definitely.
saying?
It prepared you.
Right. My work ethic. My work ethic is so because I learned that there was nobody I can trust to help me achieve my goals.
Yep.
So I got to the point where I did not allow anybody to interfere in the goals that I was setting for myself. And like conversations in the past, you will always ask me, Craig, how do you do so much?
Yeah, exactly.
I've always been multitalented. Mm-hmm. I can handle 5 things. I could cut hair, have a conversation on the phone with my wife, and a conversation in the shop all at the same time. And so, what's the seed that is sown in you is what produces the fruit that comes out of you.
That's it.
So if you sow a weak seed, you're gonna get a weak fruit.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a weak process.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a immature, ill-formed process. And so the man's conversation for today is I want guys to look at their progression and where they are, and not to take in a negative manner where you are or what has happened to you, but to pick up today and say, I can do better, I can do more.
Yes.
I'm a man.
Right.
And I had a conversation with my wife because women really don't take into consideration what a real man will sacrifice for his family and his children. And so I asked her, I said, if the roles were reversed, would you, if we lived in Georgia, give away your business,
right,
move to the other side of the country and do everything you need to make sure that me and my daughter have a prosperous life?
Right.
And she couldn't answer the question.
I feel like she wouldn't do it. And most women wouldn't.
And I'm not judging her character. There are women out there that will do it, but this is the issue. Most women, they judge a man's feelings based on their feelings and not the feelings of the man. So he really never gets heard. The reason why I posed to her that question is because you're a stepfather. I don't like that word. I'm a stepfather. We don't get credit for raising our children. It's the father that does.
Right.
But the woman, in the protection of us taking them on and taking their children on, they don't really understand that. And the sacrifice that a man makes. So I'll give it to you like this. 1996, I started my own barbershop. I had $20,000 on credit card. I maxed those credit cards out. From April to the end of the year, I paid the minimum balance because I did not know what the business was going to do.
Right.
January 1st, 1997, I'm making almost six figures. Mm-hmm. I was able to pay that credit card debt off in 11 months. So December 1st, 1997, I'm debt free. Mm-hmm. My barbershop operates for the next 3 years. I meet my wife.
Yep.
We get married in 3 months. Mm-hmm. I give my barbershop away to move to Atlanta for my wife because she said we would have a better life and for her son. Mm-hmm. So I get here. I got to start zero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I start zero. I got to find a shop to work in. I got to rebuild my clientele. Yep. I got to find people in a place or in a land that I know.
Nobody.
Right. I know my wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say, and thinking about it, as a man, I know the question that you posed to your wife, but I feel like that is the role of a man, right? It is the role. That's the role, and they wouldn't even understand that. Like it may be foreign to her of like, well, why would I do that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would think, most women probably wouldn't be thinking like that. Or wouldn't be in that situation. But that is a role a man always has to think about. We got to think about those things. What does make a better life? Okay, we got to pick up. We got to do this. We got to go get work. We got to provide. Those types of things that we have to do. And it might be a little foreign to some women.
It was very foreign. Mm-hmm. I went from West Coast living to Southern living.
Way different.
Venus and Mars. That is what the role of a man is to provide, to protect, and to also
provide that vision for your family too. Yeah.
Right. Kim, we getting a real bad echo. So in that, how mature did I have to be?
Right.
Because if I was selfish, I would have been like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Exactly. But would you have been displaying manhood at that point?
No. But what is the guideline for manhood? We don't have a manual. We don't have a book. There's no this is what a man does. Mm-hmm. What a man should do should be innately deposited in him by his fathers, his forefathers, his uncles. Right. I saw my grandfather take care of my grandmother. I saw my grandfather provide. I saw him take her camping. I saw him buy her cars. I saw him flirt with her every day.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the exact same thing because he was a very good example.
Right.
So when I met my wife, I didn't flirt with her until after we got married.
Mm. Wow. After?
there was no need to flirt.
Okay.
Because I did not want to present a falsehood. Mm-hmm. Because, all right, let's look at it. What is flirting? Flirting is an empty attempt to get your attention.
Okay.
You're cute. You look good. So you grab her attention.
Right.
What if she ain't cute?
I got you.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So flirting is an attempt to get your attention. So I keep flirting with you to get your attention because all of this attention, it makes you feel fluffy inside and good. Right. But then the man cheats on her. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what you were saying, you didn't have to flirt with your wife because you already had her attention.
Well, I allowed the essence of just being who I was to get her attention.
Okay. I got you. So it was no falsehoods. That's what you're saying. And the flirting does a little bit of falseness.
Okay, so if you're real, you don't have to flirt.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
And to get a girl, you don't have to flirt. Mm-hmm. We flirt to get their attention because we know that that's a woman that would not recognize me in any other setting.
Okay.
So I flirt with her to get her on my level, to get her to give attention to me. And then I have to manipulate the relationship so I can continue to win and keep her.
Okay.
For me, it was not flirting because everything I wanted to give her needed to be the essence of who I was and what my goal was and what I wanted, which was marriage.
Okay.
I wanted the woman that God had for me. I wanted the family that God had for me. So all I could talk about is what my goals in being a godly man was. And she liked that because that's what she was looking for.
Okay.
So in the 2 weeks we talked on the phone, there was an affection and an infinity of admiration where I didn't have to go out and give any falsehoods to get her attention.
Okay. It was all real.
It was 100% real.
Okay.
The problem is today, the women in the world will seek more attention than they will what is real.
Some women.
I'm not saying all.
right,
the majority.
Right.
Fake eyelashes, fake wigs, weaves, makeup.
Okay.
All right. What am I doing when I do all that? I'm giving you a falsehood. Because if you take it off at the end of the night, what do you look like?
Something else. I don't know. Somebody else, maybe.
So are you selling me a fallacy? Are you selling me a bag with holes in it?
I don't know about that. So I have a little bit different view. I want a woman to feel good about themselves all the time. You know, whatever that makes them, you know, whatever they got to do to make them feel like that, great.
All right. So let me help you out. You have a house, right?
Yep.
How old is your house?
10 years.
So you'll paint your house. Will you paint your whole house, or will you paint the sections that need to be painted?
The sections that need to be painted.
All right. So you're a woman that needs to put makeup on when makeup is needed. Not every day. Because you're not gonna paint your house every day.
Okay.
Are you gonna put Armor All on your tires every day?
No.
Are you gonna wash your car every day?
No.
These are things of maturity and security that we operate in every day. I need to look a certain way to get a certain attention, to feel good about myself. You should feel good about yourself despite what you look like, despite what you have, despite what you're dealing with. And I'm talking about men, even though we're talking about women. We're talking about makeup.
Okay.
I'm specifically saying this to a man, and I'm gonna share with you this. This is what I told my wife. I don't have the money to give you everything you want. I'm not even gonna act like I do.
Okay.
I'm not. But there were situations where when we first started talking, there was a $900 phone bill that she acquired, but she was talking to me on the phone. She could not afford it.
Okay.
So what did I do?
You took care of that bill.
I took care of that bill. I didn't pay her car note. I didn't pay her rent. She was not my responsibility. So I wasn't assuming responsibility.
Right.
But what did she see when I paid that phone bill? She saw a man secure her insecurity of something that she couldn't do. But who was on the other end of that phone?
It was
I
you.
was.
Yeah.
So if I want to be with you, if a woman can't accept you being 100% real, upfront, honest, and just a regular Joe Blow.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Of course.
And I'll go back even further. When I was a young buck, I would dress to a T. Every time I stepped out, I was fresh, clean pants, nice outfit.
Right.
But I would go to the barbershop and that outfit would get dirty. So my cleaning bill was astronomical.
Right.
So I'm like, why am I spending all this money to get dirty? So I started wearing khakis and tennis shoes and T-shirts to work, just regular stuff. And the girls that I would hang with was like, oh, you going down. You ain't shopping. Because they associated me with money.
With the other clothes. Yeah.
They associated me with the other clothes.
Okay.
Now, actually, my value went up because my cleaning bill now went to $33 a month instead of $300. I'm actually able to save. Yeah. And I actually humbled myself and was like, you know what? The job don't
need all that. Yes.
But what were they looking for?
Yeah, the name brands, all that stuff. Yeah.
And then I learned I grew up poor. So when I finally got money in my pocket,
you sought after those things.
I sought after those things to make me feel good because I never had them as a kid. Right. But then when I got them, I actually saw I really didn't need it.
Didn't need that. Yeah.
To this day, when I step out, I have on a $18 pair of sweatpants, an $18 pair of sweatshirt. My shoes may be the most expensive. I will always have a LA hat on and a jacket. Yep. 90% of my jackets come from Costco. 90% of my jackets come from Sam's. My sweatsuits come from box stores. Yeah. I don't buy no name brand. I mean, I buy Nike, but I'm just a Nike fan. Yeah. But other than that, there's really nothing else in my closet that's name brand. And I don't have a need for it. Nah. I never had a need for it. So when I met my wife, I didn't present myself. And I'm not saying don't look good.
Exactly.
I am not saying that.
Right.
The true essence of a man in a dating relationship, in a business relationship, is to promote the truth, to promote his standards, his structure.
That's it.
But that's not our society today. Everybody has a fallacy.
Oh yeah.
The nice cars, I want to look like this, I want to do this, but then behind closed doors, and it's prevalent in Los Angeles, they still live with their mother. They still park in their car.
It definitely happens in Atlanta.
Okay. I'm not from Atlanta,
right.
so I don't know.
It definitely happens. Yeah.
But this is
you buy your $2,000 or you got your $2,000 note on your Range Rover,
right.
but you're living at home. How many times do we see that? I see that all the time. Yeah.
Well, same thing. I met this girl. We're doing a video shoot. She looked like she Beyonce Jr. She walk out to this Range Rover. It wouldn't even start.
Yeah. Exactly.
I had to help her start it so she could leave.
Right.
Dudes knocking down the door to get to her. And I'm not saying don't dress up to feel good about yourself, but just be real. Be real. My thing is be real. You being a customer, I don't think it's anything I lied to you about, but except for how I cooked that chicken.
Yeah.
Again, I'll go back to my barbershop. And I know I say this all the time. When I gave them the truth, they came back. The truth came back to me. And it was like, oh, this dude is telling us the right thing. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I did childish things. I thought as a child. The issue with society is they never go to the next level. They continue the childly thoughts. The child, what can I do to get by? What can I do to get over? What can I do? Instead of actually saying, what do I need to do to mature in this situation or to learn in this situation or to become stronger in this situation? You don't go to the gym to lift smaller weights.
Right. Exactly. Right. No.
So what does life say?
Yeah.
I have to innately be challenged to come out stronger on the end, and no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Again.
The maturity, I think the maturity comes with
tackling those assignments.
Yeah. And really becoming a man is maturity, right? All of that, all the things that you said. So when you are thinking a little bit younger than, a child or as a child or whatever, you are looking at what does everybody else have?
Right.
How can I match that? What do I need to look like? Maturity says, just like any older person, I don't need all that. I don't need that and I've already been through that. I've purchased, I've always had the big expensive things and I don't even need that anymore. That comes with maturity. So it's good to see that and, that they grew out of whatever they did. And it's not to say they weren't there once. I think we all were, and trying to please somebody and thinking that it was about what we wore or what we bought or what we drive or what we, all that stuff. And that's what society does to us. Right. And of course, the consumerism is here hard.
Right.
Yes, you need to buy this. Yes, you need to buy that. Why don't you need this? We know that that is definitely in young people's faces all the time.
Yeah.
And older people, they can go for it too. But the maturity comes when saying, I don't need that.
Well, what about the people so let's go back to your older people who still think like children.
Exactly. Well, did they mature?
No.
Just because you're older doesn't mean, right? It didn't mean that you matured.
Right. So have you ever listened to Kevin Samuels, any of his podcasts where he talks to a lot of women and a lot of men about dating? And
I've seen a couple of clips.
What do you think?
I think for the most part he's right. I mean,
he is.
He gives a realness now.
And he gives a realness to women, and they don't want to hear it, but it's actually the truth. And I've actually heard him talk to men about the same thing. What do you think about Candace Owens?
Not my favorite.
Okay.
Well, I think she says some things also which are thought worthy.
Right.
Let me say that. So she says some thought worthy things, but I do question sometimes where is that message coming from?
I learned to stop questioning where the message was and focus on the message. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
If you're a man right now, you don't have a job, you don't have a car, you're sleeping on a woman's couch, you can't fix something, that's a problem.
It is.
That's my message. How do we fix it?
Right.
The man has to fix it himself, but he has to want to fix it. So if the message is hard because you're being soft or you're immature, you need the hard message to let you know where you need to be.
Right.
There are men out there who are waiting for women to take care of them.
Yes, they are definitely out there,
especially in Atlanta. And there are women out there who, and I'll just share with you, I've had plenty of offers. Hey, Craig, I need my rent paid. I don't want to pay my rent.
You're right.
So what makes you think I'm gonna pay yours?
Exactly.
I don't do that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You have to be responsible for who you are and where you are, but you have to be able to identify with who you are and where you are. A man produces. Everything he does is a production. It might not be a house today, but if he got 10 pieces of wood, he got nails, if he starts one room at a time, that house will continuously be built. Okay.
Yes.
That grass is going to be planted. Those bushes are going to be trimmed. A man's proclivity to produce is innately in him. If you're not producing, and I'm not talking about men who have a challenge, mental challenges or physical challenges, you should be producing in any and every situation. You should be heading up your household. If you're not good with money, you partner up with your girlfriend, your wife, whatever the case may be.
Well, I think it starts and where I, at least how I come to any situation is you have to have a goal. Yeah. And whatever that goal is, that's going to further you along in your life process. But then you have to set that plan to get there.
So what if there's no goal?
That is a problem, right?
Society. Okay.
That's a huge problem.
Let's go back to Candace Williams. Let's go back to Kevin Samuels. They're speaking to an audience that is soft, that is arrogant, that is prideful. Again, the 50-year-old woman with 3 kids, and she's talking and basically saying, I need a high value man. And what is his response?
You're not a high value woman. Yes.
Right. There's nothing, and I'm quoting, there's nothing with use and age that gets more valuable except for a man. Do you understand what I'm saying? What I like about what he says is the world is soft, and because of social media, we're able to believe whatever we think is true, which is not reality. The reason why a man increases in value as he gets older, not with usage, but with progressive movement, is he'll start with a Volkswagen Bug. He'll live in an apartment. As long as he has a goal, he's going to work toward his goal.
Exactly.
So he gets a job making $100,000. He changes his car, changes his clothes, changes where he lives. Then he makes $200,000. He changes his clothes. He changes his car. He changes where he lives. Now he has a family. He don't want to live in the city no more. So now he got to work to move outside so he can raise his family. Right. Yeah. What did he do? Every step in the process, he increased his value.
Exactly.
Single women that are prideful and they're thinking, I can have 4 baby daddies, but I want a high value man.
Right.
That does not work. And when the message is given, it's a hard message to a soft person.
It's true.
It doesn't come over right.
Right.
Candace Owens, when they speak to these people, these transgender, these people who have racial issues, and she gives it right back to them in a way that makes sense, they can't understand it. But when your perspective is skewed, when you don't take everybody else's perspective and understanding, yours is valid in a situation where it actually is not.
Okay.
And so for me, I like the hard word because it pushes me to be even better, or pushes me to a place where, I might be slipping in this area. I could do a whole lot better.
Right.
Or to reevaluate who I am and my morals and what I need to do to be even better in the person that I am. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So goals have a lot to do with it.
Goals are big.
Goals are big. For me, when I was in the street, and the guy told me, he said, you're devaluing yourself. All these women that you're sleeping with, they're waiting to devalue the potential that you have as a commodity. He told me that. He's a commodity.
Yeah.
What has happened with me? I had a barbershop. I was living in a apartment. I had a couple cars. I never thought I could buy a house. I move here. I buy a house. I buy another house. I buy another house.
Right.
I buy land. I got a townhouse in Florida. I got a townhouse in Hilton Head. I got a boat. I got an RV.
Right.
I got cars. What does that do as I've gotten older?
Yeah.
It's increased value. It's increased my value.
Right.
I'm not saying that there are not women that's doing this, but the women that are doing it is not 1% of the men that are doing it. So it's not common culture for a woman to come in and say, this is a woman's standard of living.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. That last piece. So you're saying I'm
talking about a standard for all women.
All women. Gotcha.
Because again, let's go back to Kevin Samuels. All these women want to stay home and be a housewife.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But they want men that make $300,000 a year to take care of 2, 3, 4 kids, and they want to be at home.
Exactly.
They have to make at least $300,000. Not even 6% of the nation makes $300,000. Exactly. So what makes you think that you're in the 94, what would you say, the 6% of women that deserve one of these 6% men?
Right.
But you have this high value man who's going to take care of four other men's kids and responsibilities. So the thought that they operate in is a delusional thought.
Right.
The problem is just as delusional as these women are thinking they can get a high value man, there are men out there that are operating in the same delusion that this woman's going to take care of me and I can milk this system out as long as I can. No, you're devaluing yourself. And you're allowing her to also devalue you. And then when you hurt her feelings, she's going to blast all your devaluing out into the world because she can't hold that.
Exactly. Right.
That's the state of men. That's the state of where we are. We have the select few that are pushing to do better. And then you have the majority of people who they just want what they want when they want it. And it's a society killer.
It is. I definitely agree with that. And I think, too, the man that does wait on the woman that gives them everything, that is a temporary situation.
Right.
I don't think that ever goes down for more than a few years, if that. Because at some point, the roles do come into place. Like the women say, I'm not going to take care of you as a man anymore.
Let me give you this. It doesn't last a couple years.
Yeah.
I'll flip through videos at night. The man posed a question to this lady. If your husband ever, or the guy you're dating, girl said, we've been dating for 2 years. I've been with him through thick and thin.
Yep.
Guy said, if the roles were reversed, he gets sick. How long would you wait before you move on?
What were the answers there?
3 months.
Yeah.
And he said, this guy been taking care of you for 2 years, put you through school, took care of your kid.
Yeah.
3 months. It's not fair.
It's not. It's not fair.
The reason why this conversation is good is we're talking about maturity. And even though this is a man's conversation, we've been talking a lot about women.
Yeah.
Why? Because women also play a part in the maturity of a man.
Yeah. Definitely does.
For the women who made me wait before we were intimate, I have more respect for those women than the ones that didn't make me wait.
Okay.
Why? Because a man has a security in everything he works for. If it comes easy, there's no value in it.
Right. Right.
So we value our women the same way. If she come easy, then I know I can do whatever I want to do. If the job come easy, if the selling street pharmaceuticals come easy, that's what I'm gonna stick with. That I can stick with that, but there's nothing to sustain it because it could be here today, gone tomorrow.
Right.
Or what about the dude that starts selling weed over here, but this guy started his car washing business at the same time?
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna get more. He's gonna get more out of it. It's a harder road. It's a harder road, maybe, but he did it right.
So when I think like a teenager, I act like a teenager, I produce what teenagers do. That's not profitable for a man or a woman who has a teenage mentality, but they're in their 30s.
Right, which we see that a lot. We see it in 40s and even 50s. We see that.
Well, you have to again look at what is being produced by a person, because that's what's in you.
Yep.
And society doesn't say you need to mature. They say you stay the same and continue where you are.
Of course.
Be happy with where you are.
Right. We don't want you to mature. You know why? Because then how can I throw this this iPhone 15 at you and you need to buy this even though you have a 14 and your paycheck doesn't say that you should be having another 15, but here, go ahead and take this. How can I do that? How can I say, hey, you definitely need this Benz over here? Does your paycheck? It doesn't really matter. Nah, I can kind of afford it. Okay.
No, we'll give it to you at a 27% interest rate.
Yes.
So for me, I just got my first new phone. In 5 years?
Yeah.
That's how behind I was.
Right.
Because guess what? The phone that I had, it did the same thing. And the only reason why I upgraded was because we
battery about to be done, everything.
No, we switched from one company to another one. So they said, hey, if you want this $2,000 phone, we'll give you $1,500 on the old phone.
Exactly.
I was like, just a no-brainer.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that.
I'll do that. And then I wait about 6 months and I just pay whatever's owed off because I don't like to be tied into a contract.
Right.
When you
maturity.
When you don't think for the future and you think for today, what happens? You're not prepared.
You're not.
Case in point, my story. Always ask, Craig, how did you get in the entertainment industry?
Right.
And my answer is preparation, meeting opportunity, and I was prepared when the opportunity came. How did you start with Tyler Perry? How was you with Tyler Perry so long? How did you do a Marvel movie? How did you get with Ricky Smiley?
Right.
I've never put myself before my craft. I actually have a great personality. But my skills have always outshined me.
Right.
Moving from Los Angeles here, they had never seen the type of haircuts that I was doing in the amount of time that I was doing.
Right.
The average haircut in the barbershop I was working at was an hour.
And
I was doing them in 20 minutes.
Yep.
Not knowing that that's what the entertainment industry was looking for. I didn't get into the entertainment industry until 2001, 3, somewhere in there.
Okay.
But in 96, 97, I was doing 15-minute haircuts. I didn't have a goal to get into the entertainment industry.
Right.
I had a 3-hour wait. I had 13 people waiting on a haircut in the barbershop.
Hey. Yeah, that's nice.
So my preparation, when the opportunity came, I was prepared. Exactly. I didn't have to say nothing. All I had to do was perform.
That's it.
And guess what happened? That performance took me over here. That performance took me over here. That performance took me over here. I met Ricky Smiley on Meet the Browns, the TV show.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He flying me to Vegas. He flying me here. Hey, Craig, I got 3 barbers, but whoever's the closest is the one I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Well, he flew me to Vegas. I passed up 2 other barbers.
Yep, exactly.
And guess what? I talked to his 2 other barbers. There was no competition. It was
great.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I met him on one project. Now I'm the barber for his TV show.
That's how it goes. Preparation. Yep.
There's never been an actor who said Craig was a problem. There's been some oil and water actors.
Yeah.
Never said a problem. Why? Don't want to be a problem. My buddy Lance Gross, been cutting his hair since 2005. Humility.
Right.
I have picked him up from the airport. I've dropped him off at the airport. I have pushed his bags through. I've been his caddy.
Yeah.
I've been his roadie.
Wow.
I've been there when I was there when his father passed.
Okay.
I'm one of the top 10 celebrity barbers in the nation. That's not my job.
Right.
But I'm humble. I don't mind helping. I don't mind. Because guess what? If I promote him,
you get promoted too.
I get promoted too.
That's maturity. That's what comes with maturity, though.
So let's go back to the Bible scripture. When I was a child, I thought as a child because my thought process was limited.
It was.
But it's also selfish kind of because if I don't want to grow or I don't want to change, I'm saying that I'm fine mentally at the place that I'm at.
Right.
Physically, I might have outgrown where I am. emotionally.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We have to push ourselves to be a bigger and a better person, and it doesn't promote us. I've never seen anybody.
It doesn't make sense sometimes.
Well, it doesn't. I've never seen somebody go to the gym to lift weights to get smaller.
Right. Right. Exactly. Nah.
But if you don't push yourself to go to the gym and lift more weights, will you ever grow? No pain, no gain. If you have a comment or you want to call in, we're on Facebook Live on 7 Spring Studio. Office number is 470-412-0917, or you can email us at menofpromise2018@gmail.com. We're looking for comments and people who want to call in. Feel free to join this conversation. I was forced to mature.
Yeah.
Because of my circumstances and situations. I was homeless as a teenager.
Okay.
But I was a very immature teenager. I had the money, but I didn't have the confidence.
Gotcha.
To get my own apartment. So I would sleep in my car. I would rent hotel rooms. I would stay with a friend 2 days over here, 3 days over here. And it wasn't until I was like, I'm a grown man. I can't live like this.
Right. Yeah.
I need my own place. Or I need a roommate. And anytime I got a roommate, they were always like, please don't leave. You're like the best roommate in the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had female roommates. Please don't leave. You know, when I got it, I got it. But I had to get it.
Right.
Something, the math wasn't adding up. It was 5 + 5 = 7.
Right.
I got the money, but I didn't have the confidence.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I was always thinking about it because I left for college when I was 17. So I didn't turn 18 until I was already in college.
When's your birthday?
October.
Okay, so you're like me.
Yeah.
I'm November.
Okay.
I graduated at 17.
Yep. So, and I think I'm glad that I did the college route, right? And I had that backbone, so I didn't really still have to think about, you know, what I'm going to do, where I'm going to live at for the next 3-4 years after that. But I will say that with your structure, with the things you're being taught, you know, like I said, that's why I really value my upbringing. That I could have went out. I would have, you know, I knew the value of $1 already.
Right.
I already knew about savings. I already knew about, hey, you can't just spend your money on whatever you can spend it on. No, you got to save for whatever you need or whatever you want. So getting that message helped. And could I have gone out? I think I could have. I think I could have made it at whatever point because those lessons were instilled in me. It sounds like the same. You still got those same lessons, though. You may have gotten them a little bit harder because I wasn't forced to get those lessons, right? But you were. It sounds like you were forced. You had to learn those lessons early to get that, which to me is still, when you look back, you know, just over people's lives and things like that, that's your route that you had to go and go do that. Nobody's saying that it was easier my way versus even your way. I don't know. We still got most of the same lessons though. And then I'm thankful that we did get those lessons because a lot of people still didn't get it.
No, they got the lesson. They didn't pass the test.
Okay. I like that.
There's nowhere okay, I'll give you an example. You have a car. You're going to drive down the street. You're going to come across a stop sign. You're going to come across a red light.
Right.
If you choose not to stop, it doesn't mean the stop sign wasn't there.
Right.
It doesn't mean that the circumstances from running the stoplight not going to be there. Whether you choose to run from those circumstances is the difference between a mature person and an immature person.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So me being 19 years old, making $1,000 a week, $10 haircuts at the time.
Yep.
That's 100 haircuts in a week.
Did the math. You knew it.
That's 25 a day.
Right. And that's what you said. That's what I'm going to get to. Because you knew how much you were going to make a week. You already had the number out there. You said, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
That comes with maturity, though. Even at 19, that comes with a certain amount of maturity of saying, here's what I need.
Well, I was mature on the barber end. I wasn't mature on the being responsible.
Yeah.
And acquiring my own place. That was my downfall.
That's the only thing.
Yeah. That was my downfall.
Right. No, I get that.
In retrospect, I was spending more in a hotel room than I would have been if I would have just got a $650 apartment.
Exactly. Did anybody, let me ask you this though, did anybody come to you and say, hey Craig, you should probably do this?
Nobody knew what I was going through.
Exactly. You kept that all in. That was all your struggle all by yourself. And I figured that because had you put it out there, had you said, hey, this is what I'm doing, somebody would have said,
right.
Wait, what?
Right. Just like the man came in and told me. Yes. You're right.
What are you doing? And that is one of the big aspects of having somebody there so you can talk to like a mature person.
Right.
You know, I have my dad, I have, relatives, I have my granddaddy, everybody that could have said, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Let's do the math.
What about the person that don't have that person in their life?
Yep. And still got to seek those people out. I still feel like.
Well, the whole thing about why I wouldn't tell people is because I didn't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah. Right.
I was vulnerable with my ex-girlfriends. I would be vulnerable with my closest. No, nobody really knew. It was my ex-girlfriends.
Wow.
My family wouldn't help me. And that's why I had to learn that if I'm going to do this, I had to do it myself.
Right.
If you are lacking in something and it's your desire as a man in this conversation, the man's conversation, you might not be able to trust anybody to do it.
You can't. You can't trust everybody. No, that's a good lesson. That's a good lesson to learn. You can't trust everybody, but there is somebody that can help. There's somebody. Yeah.
Well, the aspect that we have not talked about is that God is always there.
Yes, definitely.
And if we don't learn to lean on him, I can now see when I wasn't walking with God, how he was preparing me for where I am today. What I've acquired today. It's all come from him.
Right.
But you have to want to take the responsibility. You have to want to take the hits. I had to give my barbershop up.
Right.
I didn't get another barbershop, but I got a position in the industry that nobody can ever take away.
Right.
I worked on a show for the last 3 weeks, and I did 2 haircuts a week.
Right.
But I got the paycheck of a person that worked 40 hours.
It's true. And that's the thing, because too, when you do have a relationship, what would most people be asking for? You would ask for a barbershop.
Yeah.
Because you knew the barbershop. I know this when there might be something bigger out there, but you got to have that trust and believe and have that, you got to have that relationship.
And you also have to be willing to sacrifice.
So
what are some things that a man needs today? He needs a job.
Definitely gotta have a job.
If he does not have a job, he needs a craft.
Something. You gotta have income.
For you, college was the route. For me, college was not the route.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. Learning abilities. There are 4. Reading and writing is 1.
Right.
Kinesthetic is another. Audio and visual learning.
Yep.
I'm kinesthetic. So
hands on.
Yep. I could not sit in a lecture. I could not sit in a chalkboard situation. And at the age of, I was probably 42 at the time.
Okay.
I actually got a offer. Full ride.
Okay.
Scholarship, paying 4 years at a chiropractic school.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you said
no.
Well, it would have been a little bit hands-on though, right?
well, the first 2 years is books.
Exactly. Yeah, I get that.
I would have failed.
I mean, you already know that about yourself. Yeah.
Well, I could have applied myself, but it has to be something that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
The way school is set up, it
right. You already knew. You knew yourself, and you said, "Hey, that's not for me."
So a man needs a trade. A trade. my trade was barbering.
Mm-hmm.
Barbering turned me into a businessman.
Right.
Businessman now turned me into, not just barbering, but working on houses, repairing houses,
right,
to where I have a construction company now. I don't have a barbershop, but I still cut hair. I'm still
do.
working in the industry. I'm doing consulting now.
Yeah.
I'm also doing counseling now. Everything I did behind the barber chair is now being multiplied or amplified into something different. A man needs to establish his own place to stay.
That's it.
Because the man's house is his kingdom.
It is. Gotta have your own place.
You gotta have your own place. You gotta have a car.
Yes.
A running, working car.
Yes, you do.
Which you got to change the tires. You have to know you should know how to work on your brakes. You should know how to check your oil. You should know how to check your transmission fluid. You might not know how to bleed your brakes, but know how to change your brake pads.
Yep, definitely.
You need to learn how to change your spark plugs. That's the basic stuff.
It is. Yep.
That's the basic. These are things that women are going to look for in a real man. Because what happens when that money runs short and the car needs to be fixed? And you sitting there and she's looking at you like, what you gonna do? And you like, exactly. I ain't got no money. But did you attempt? Did you try?
Exactly. That can't be the answer.
Right. Nah. It's not gonna be. And then a woman wants to know that she's protected.
Exactly. And that's the main thing. Yeah. Protected.
And then know that you have a backup plan. Oh brother. I have a friend. Moved to Georgia, stayed with me for a couple weeks.
Okay.
And didn't mind him staying with me.
Nah.
But.
What's your plan?
No, it wasn't even that.
Okay.
It was, hey, we fed your family and our family last night. You need to feed our family. Man, it cost me $116 to feed everybody. And I said, well, it's costing me more because you're using water, you're using electricity. You my boy, I'm going to help you.
Right.
This cat moves into a house. Wife buys a luxury car, but they can't move into the house because they don't have a refrigerator.
Wow.
They couldn't afford a refrigerator.
Wow.
So my thing was, how do you move? You have a family of 4. You're staying with me. Your house is in walking distance, but you can't take your family to the house because you don't have a refrigerator.
No.
I always have a backup plan. I always have an extra $100 in my pocket. I always have a credit card with zero on it.
Exactly. Because those situations always
come
happen.
up.
Yes.
I just put my truck in the shop. They told me $6,000.
Yeah.
My transmission needs to be fixed.
Yep.
Guess what? I said, here you go, buddy.
There you go. Yep. Exactly.
Here you go, buddy.
Yep. Gotta have that.
You gotta have that.
Right.
And there are times where you might not have it. That's when you lean on the Lord.
Yes.
But your preparation for those emergency times are going to be, again, when I bought my first house, I had $20,000 saved up.
Right.
I needed $10,000 to buy it.
Yep.
We cracked the savings account. I was able to do it.
Had to do it. Yep. Exactly.
Here you go. My wife wanted these washer and dryers. Before we moved to Atlanta, we stayed with some friends for about a week.
Okay.
They had this washer and dryer set that you could put a suit in.
Okay.
You could put a suit. A suit.
Okay.
Put it in the washing machine. She had a rack. You could fold it and put the clothes on the rack in the dryer. They never tumbled in the dryer.
Wow.
My wife put a suit in this lady washer and dryer.
They didn't tumble.
No. Suit came out better than taking it to the dry cleaner.
Wow. Okay.
So it was $3,500 for the set. So we move to Georgia. We buy this house.
Right.
My wife says, if you could get that washer
Can we
and
do
dryer
that? Yeah.
for me. I'm like, $3,500 for a washer and dryer?
Right.
I bought them.
Yeah, exactly.
I got them.
Yeah.
That's what the woman is looking for, is a man of chivalry, that he listens to her and he's able, and you might not be able to provide for
it won't happen every time.
It's not going to happen every time. It's some things I told my wife, no, I can't do. But the little things that I could do,
you're trying to do them.
It provided a protection and a sense of her thoughts are important. Of course.
Yeah.
The challenge today is we don't have those type of men because, and here in Atlanta, they're the king. Mm-hmm. The woman is basically saying, you could do whatever you want as long as I got you.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there's no need to provide.
There's no need to. I got it.
Be a protector. There's no need to.
None of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's where's our society going?
Not to a good place if that keeps happening.
There are men out there that are listening to this conversation, and I'm sorry, I may be challenging your whole manhood right now. Where you are is not gonna last. It's gonna fold. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get up and pick up and do the things that men do, you're never gonna have anything. You're gonna be in the same situation in 2024 that you was in 2013.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't change. Temporary situation.
And actually,
not moving any further.
It gets worse. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest things that I did was get married. Mm-hmm. I did not want a whole bunch of baby mamas.
Right.
So by the time I did get mature, I was married. I was ready to say, I don't want that.
Right.
That was maturity. Mm-hmm. I had to be put in a position and be forced. And even to say my relationship is not perfect, it's not supposed to be, but I'm committed to my commitments. So, God knew what he was doing when he put me and my wife together.
Right.
Because God knew that whatever he put before me, I was going to do 100%. Mm-hmm. There are some things that men are going to have to get up and do 100% without stopping, without letting a woman stop them, without letting a woman come in and say, hey, I can do this, without your mama helping you, without your you may have 2 or 3 kids by 2 or 3 women, but you got to push past. You know what? Yeah. I got to pay my child support.
Exactly. That happened. That's it. That's already happened. It's time to move forward and man up.
And man up.
Yep.
And man up.
Right.
This has been a great conversation.
Yeah, I think it's been good.
So in conclusion, we are coming up to our time. Mm-hmm. The conversation between a man and a woman is a conversation between a man is very important, but the conversation that a mature man has with a woman is even more important because if I don't have to flirt with you to get your attention, if my just regular talking gets your attention, what does that say about the man that I am? And what does that say about what I say to a woman?
Right.
I'm not giving you empty promises. I ain't paying your car note. I ain't buying you no car. This is not
happening.
Yeah, this is not a I'll do for you. You do for me, or I'm gonna do this to promote you. We get promoted at the same time. That's it. And the good thing about it is, when there has to be a balance.
Yes, definitely.
The woman has to know that there may come a day where she has to supply everything.
And won't have a problem doing that because they know that man.
Yep.
They know what he's been doing, what he stands on, what he has provided. So it's no thought in her mind. Okay, yes, it may be time for me to pick up right now.
Yeah.
She's not going to continue to do that though.
I don't know.
At some point, she needs to get back to
where
the role.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you think a traditional family works today, where the man works and the woman's at home?
Yes.
Do you think it still works?
I think it does work. Yes.
I'm not saying that it does. I'm just asking the question.
Right. Yeah. I think it can work. Yes.
So what is her role? Cook, clean?
Yeah. You don't want to say all that, but yeah, just taking care of home. Yeah, can be a whole job.
That would be her job.
Right.
I mean, it's only fair if he's out defending the home and making provisions that she's handling this over here.
Yeah, exactly.
So my next question is, can most women handle taking care of the
home? I think most women would want to just do that. I think so. Yeah, if everything is provided for, yes. Can I just take care of home? Yes. I think if you offered that to most women, I think they would take it.
Right, but can they take care of the home? I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, so I was gonna say, what does that mean then? Because I maybe we have different thoughts of taking care of home.
No, I think we're talking about the same thing. All right, so here we go. The man has a job.
Yes.
He's fighting the world. Mm-hmm. He's taking care of his responsibility.
Yes.
Because if he has a house, he has a yard.
Mm-hmm.
He has a car.
Yep.
If he pays to get it fixed or he repairs it himself, he not only has yard work, but community service. Yep. He's doing stuff in the community. Mm-hmm. He's protecting his household.
Yes.
He's making sure that everything that he has is not going to be lost or damaged or whatever. Mm-hmm. the wife of today's responsibility, what is her responsibility? It should match the household from the outside.
Yes, definitely.
But that's not reality nowadays.
Okay. What do you mean?
I'm not.
So,
okay, all right. So let me give you my definition of reality.
Let's hear this.
All right. My definition of reality. Mm-hmm. You take a father, a wife, 5 children. His reality may be, I'm sick of my wife. She's getting on my nerves.
Okay.
He cheats. His reality is, I need what I need. She's not giving it to me, so I'm going to go find somebody else to give it to me.
Okay.
He doesn't consider how that affects his wife, his children, and his daughters.
Right.
True reality is not what I'm going through. It's my decision and how it affects you, because if that daughter now grows up not trusting a man and has insecurities because she saw her father cheat.
Yes.
Her reality is now, I can't trust a man because I saw my father cheat. Even though that's not the perspective that's in front of him.
Right.
It's true reality because it affects everybody that's connected to you. The same thing with the drunk driver. He don't take into consideration that when somebody's killed in an accident, that it affects
a whole nother family,
a school, a job. So that's what I see true reality is, that my decisions and how are those people going to react once I make this decision.
Right.
Now, they're not going to always agree with the decision that I make. My stance on not cheating on my wife, very mature decision. My stance on not cheating is not a decision that my wife made me have to make.
Right.
My decision on not cheating is a decision that I made, and my wife benefits from it.
Right.
So if the man is going to be outside of the house to provide, she benefits from it. What is his benefit when he comes home? Does he come home to a clean home? Does he come home to an organized home?
Right.
Does he come home to cook? Cooked food. 90% of the women out there want to be boss chicks. They want to be handled. What man wants to come home and fight the whole world, traffic, his job, his boss, and then come home and fight with a woman?
Right.
Because she wants to be a boss chick.
Right.
It does not work.
I
It
get
won't
that.
work.
Right.
So I'm not pro man work and woman stay at home. I'm pro whatever works for you. But you have to be a willing participant and understand your role and your reality to what you do, how it affects this man over here.
Right.
I know plenty of men that cheat with the woman who gets coffee for him at his job because he has a woman at home that won't get up, make breakfast for him, make dinner for him. And all this woman is doing is give him coffee. And he's in love with her. But he's married to this woman that
she's not doing it.
And it's not what she's not doing. She's not catering to his specific need. And I'll go back to why. Do you know why?
Why?
Because a woman judges a man's feelings based off of hers and not his. She judges his need off of her need. And if his need is different than her need, she doesn't know how to transform and say, I'll be this woman for you because that's what you need. That's reality.
That's reality. Okay.
That's reality.
Yeah. Yes, you said a lot. You said a lot right there. I feel like, okay, so did the man have this conversation with his woman, with his wife?
I think 90% of the time, a man doesn't have a problem communicating what his issue is. Again, the question is the wife receiving it and then in turn giving him back what he needs?
Right.
But if you're a woman that's standing on pride and arrogance, I don't do that. I'm not doing that. Or he wouldn't do that for me. You're now rejecting
what he just said.
What he just said. It went in one ear and out the other one.
Right.
But guess what? This is the person that's protecting you.
It's true.
I don't have a problem with the feminist movement. What I do have a problem is when your feminist movement is before you put it before God. I have the true understanding of what an idol is right now. I have the true understanding. So we read in the Bible and we see they made these idols and they made a golden calf or they made this statue of this other man. The true essence of an idol is anything that you put as your God or before your relationship with God. So if you go to drugs,
that's
alcohol,
your idol. That's your God.
Sex, that is your that's your God. That is your placement of peace. When God is saying, I'm here and I can give you more.
Right.
And I don't want you to have any idols because I'm a jealous God. I don't want you living in this woman's house because I have a house for you to build. Right. I don't want you having kids out of wedlock because I want your kids to be by one woman.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot. That is a lot to unpack there.
So I hate to end this conversation. It's always a good conversation. And I hope that there are people that are out there that take this conversation to heart. I hope that there are women out there who hear this conversation and will listen to the things that people are saying and listen to the things that we're saying and hear what a man is saying. Not just what we're saying, but your husband, your spouse. I got to go pick my daughter up. It's important for me, and I had this conversation with my wife because she said, "Do you shut up? Do you ever let Ariel talk?" And this is what I told her. I said, "No, Ariel's he's a very intricate part of this podcast." And I actually told Ariel, I need you to shoot more questions to me because I don't want to just be the one talking. But I said, babe, this podcast is really about my life.
It is. Yeah.
Not to take away from him or Carlton, because I don't have a problem with anybody interjecting, but I go back to my life being hard. I asked God, why did you allow me to go through this? He said, so you wouldn't make those mistakes when you get older.
Right.
So you'll have
somebody
the wisdom.
Else doesn't. Right. If you're telling somebody else these mistakes that you made.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't have to go through the same thing.
Right. That's why I'm here today. That's why this podcast is here. And there's some things as a man that I'm still growing to be.
Oh, yeah. We're all still growing.
But for the 51 years of trials and tribulations that I've gone through, I really feel that God is saying, now you need to speak to the world. Not just men, not just women, but to men and women, to husbands, to children, to teenagers.
Yes.
Because God stays the same, but the world or society doesn't.
Right.
So if you're not prepared to change, you're going to be lost in the situation when things are changing. And I'll give you an example. The flood. They laughed at Noah.
They did.
But what happened? He was prepared.
He was prepared. He was ready to go.
We're going to end this conversation. We'll pick this conversation up next week.
This is good.
If there's something that you heard, like, follow, please share this conversation because I think there's some things that a lot of people can learn from this. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your energy. We appreciate your effort. Continue being who you are. Identify with where you are. Identify what you need and be vocal about getting what you need. We talked about prayer before.
Yes.
You got to pray and ask God to provide those things.
Got to have a relationship.
You got to have a relationship. And you got to be vulnerable in front of some people. But you got to be careful of the snakes. You got to be careful who you're vulnerable with and why. The person that parties with you that has the same goals, or not gonna say goals, common things with you, doesn't mean that's your best friend.
Nope. It doesn't mean that, you should be vulnerable with them in everything and share everything.
But the person that'll tell you is a booger in your nose. Your left guard went right.
Exactly.
Those are the people. You don't need to hate those. You really need to listen to those people because they're there to help you. Good conversation. I wish we can continue. My baby's at practice. I got to go pick her up.
Go get her.
We're going to end this conversation. Bishop, in the booth. He always doing something he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You like them priests. We don't never know where you at.
Well, I'm looking for your new theme song.
We hadn't got to that portion yet.
I'm thinking of Leave It to Beaver.
Okay. All right. Let's end this. We're going to end this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blessings.